Zoller. I'm from upstate New York, and I've been wearing hearing aids for about 3 years. Well, I had gone to some audiologists. I just really didn't think I was a candidate. I was kind of faking it and guessing what people were saying, and it wasn't working. I got the Lexie hearing aids. Well, it's been night and day. Conversations at the family dinner table, watching a movie that I don't have to put on the subtitles for anymore. I get emotional sometimes because if you're missing something and it comes back and you didn't think it was going to come back, that's a gift. And my kids are happier than I am that we were able to discover that again.
You okay? Kirsten did that the other day too, right? Those darn table corners. Friends, I, as you may know, reserve the phrase life-changing for very few things. You will never hear me say that those pajamas are life-changing, or even that a gold necklace is life-changing. They're life-enhancing, but life-changing really has to get to the core of something that you experience as a human being. And hearing is a core experience for most of us. We use it to communicate, we use it to listen to beautiful music, to hear babies laugh, to hear our loved ones share stories. And for those who are suffering from mild to moderate impairment, well, your life has already changed because you're having to adjust to not having the hearing that you once had. And it used to be that in order to get a quality hearing aid, you needed a prescription and an appointment and multiple follow-up visits and exorbitant price tags. This Lexie B2, powered by Bose, combines the best in audio and the best in audiology to bring you not just a great hearing aid, but the #1 over-the-counter hearing aid brand in the U.S. And we've got Brett Hamilton here to tell us more about it, but I'm here to share with you that we have the lowest price we have ever offered on the Lexie B2. It's E325208. Brett, you and I and all of our hosts, we present a lot of really great technology together, and I love your expertise, but we have Bose speakers, which we enjoy. Yeah. I don't know that I'd call that life-changing.
But no.
The hearing aid, life-changing.
Yeah, and I think that, when we think about gift giving and all the cool things we give to each other, it's nice, right? But like you said, I don't think there's too many things on that list that are going to necessarily change the way that you go about your day-to-day.
Sure.
But then you think about the ability to get one of your senses back. And we are talking about something that you've probably, unless you've seen this on the air before, have never experienced. Because hearing aids are typically big and bulky, and they scream, hey, I'm having trouble hearing. And I think there's that stigma, Jen, that goes along with it that goes, they're older. So I better talk a little bit louder to the old guy. No, you don't have to do that anymore because these essentially vanish, as you'll see over the next 15 minutes or so. But what we're talking about today is the first FDA-cleared direct-to-consumer hearing aids. These were developed for adults 18 years and older with perceived mild to moderate. This is important, Jen. Mild to moderate versus severe or profound. The hearing app that you're going to take a look at in a little bit for the B2 is powered by Bose for clinically proven audiologist-quality customization. And the best part is there's no doctor visit. There's no hearing test. There's no prescription. You're going to do this yourself, and I promise that you can, and I'll show you in real time on the app how you can adjust the way the world sounds in a restaurant, in a noisy environment, a holiday party, at the movie theater. It took the Bose scientists and audiologists decades to create the first FDA-cleared direct-to-consumer hearing aid so that speech that once sounded mumbled, speech that was quiet, child's voice, something softer and not as easy to understand, now a lot clearer, especially in those noisy environments. And we're talking about the #1 over-the-counter hearing aid out there in the market. And you don't just get that by kind of, going at it halfway. Mild to moderate versus profound or severe. If you've got a severe hearing problem, Jen, it's time to go see a doctor, obviously. But one of the good barometers, one of the good indicators is if you're in a crowded room, and somebody's talking and everybody else can understand them and you can't, maybe it's time to get some help. And certainly we all know somebody that has trouble, and it might be yourself, with the television. And the tendency is I'm going to turn up the volume, and if I turn it up, it's going to be easier to understand. But if it sounds like this at this level, it's going to sound like this at this level. And I'm not trying to be funny. It's just that you're turning up the noise. You're not balancing the problem. You're not refining the sound And this is the key to doing that.
Well, and that's why you go to Bose, right? Because everything that you've just described actually sounds very familiar to what we reference when we talk about the Bose speakers. That it isn't just about turning up the volume. It's about making the clarity of the sound more precise. Now, every human is different, and every human's experience with hearing is different as they age or from whatever other impairments they may have, which is why customization is so important too. So everything that you get to experience from the Lexie B2 is customized to you, from the actual equipment itself with the different sizes of ear tips to the way you're going to customize that audio. And I know we've got some video to show you some of the features of the Lexie B2 and how it can become your best hearing experience ever.
Yeah, and what you just said makes perfect sense when you look at the fact that the technology that's inside here is not something any of us really need to understand, which is nice, right? Because the last thing we want is another app that is tedious or that requires an instruction manual. We're talking about rechargeable hearing aids that allow you to plug these in at night when you go to bed, just like your phone. So there's no cost of use for these. You've got these different size domes. The domes serve a purpose, which we'll get to in just a second, but being able to answer a phone call directly through the hearing aids, using Bluetooth technology and these microphones that are built inside, and what they call this intelligent processor, which basically just takes the sound around you, refines it, makes it easier for you to understand, and yet not scream, hey, I've got hearing aids on. This world mode with the everywhere in front functionality, James Bond type technology. Again, I'll show you that as well when we go inside the app and take a look at it in real time. But you're going to have an advantage over people that have good hearing, because we all know what it's like to be in a restaurant and how noisy those restaurants can be, right? I mean,
yes,
you're just begging for everybody to just.
You know what? I'm going to sound like an old person. No. It's getting worse.
It is getting worse. But maybe you and I. Maybe our hearing's not as good as it used to be.
Yeah, that's possible too. But it's just, you know.
And that's one of those indicators when we saw, are they for me or are they not for me? It's that in that noisy environment, is it not as easy to understand as it used to be? But I wasn't joking when I said somebody wearing these will have the advantage over somebody even with good hearing.
Because they have the clarity. Right. Yeah, everybody's dealing with the noise. It is what it is. But you will have the clarity, right? So just to reiterate this offer for you, and then we're going to get into some of the, like, okay, I have them. Now what do I do with them to make it perfect for me?
Yeah.
We certainly have presented the Lexie B2 for you before. This is far from its first airing. It has been enormously popular. And if you shop for these anywhere else, this is where it gets really crazy from a value perspective. They're almost $900. There's something called the Lexie Club too, which gives you an elevated level of customer support should you need it, a 1-year warranty. This is now over a $950 value. Our big deal price, officially the lowest price ever, saves you $240 off of our QVC price to $699. We break that into 5 easy monthly payments of $139. Give you until the end of January for any questions, exchanges, returns if needed. But when you get them home, and if you're gifting this, it's more than fine for you to hold off until holiday gifting because you've got plenty of time. Here is where the experience becomes fully customizable, because you get to choose not just the level that you need, but also in the environment that you need. Yeah,
and the video we're about to show you will take you through a couple common scenarios, and I think all of us can relate to the noisy restaurant or having to turn the TV up, whether it's somebody that's around you or whether it's yourself. So check out this video and kind of hear what the difference could be between the way things sound in your world now and the way they could sound a lot better thanks to Lexie and Bose. Watch this.
From one of our local brewers. It's very crisp, citrusy, if that's what you're into. And tonight's soup is butternut squash, and that comes with a wood-grilled crostini with eggplant on the side. It's very popular. Also on the menu tonight are spicy chicken wings with a blue cheese sauce, and these will both pair nicely with that pale ale I mentioned. So what can I get for you?
At the end of their long journey, our colony of penguin chicks have reached the ocean. They peer over the edge, waiting for the right moment, anticipating the dangers that await. Until finally, one of them jumps, which inspires the others to follow a clumsy cascade of juvenile penguins falling into the sea.
Brett, I remember watching that simulation in a training that I did before I first presented Lexie, and I went, that's the first time I'd ever really myself heard the difference.
Yeah.
And of course, you're hearing that simulation through your own television speakers, which may be at a disadvantage already. But if that clarity is appealing to you, that's only a fraction of the kind of clarity that you can expect here, because as you need it and as you need to adjust it, you can do so. It used to be if you needed to adjust the hearing aid, you had to go back to the audiologist.
Or there were presets. It was like click 1, click 2, click 3, and it was for the masses, not for, like you just said so well a few minutes ago, we all hear differently. You know, it could be the tiniest little nuance. So we showed you the magic trick. I always like to call it the magic trick because that's really what you just experienced. But in fairness, it's not that day and night, because as Jen just said, you can refine kind of on the fly. What do I mean by that? All right, let's start with the volume. Just like a car radio, you get in your car, you're like, all right, I need to turn the volume up to a comfortable level. Not what the volume on the television would sound like that you need to crank up without the help of Lexie and Bose, but now a much lower level, hopefully, so that you can start to kind of fine-tune everything else around you. If the world sounds muffled and you want to clean it up, it's more trouble. It's as simple as that. But it could not, you know, you don't have to just take it up here. It's, hey, have somebody talk to you while you're doing this. Or turn the TV on, stare at the TV, and little by little, is it a little trouble? Or maybe everything's really tinty and it's annoying and you go, I wish I had that bass back. I wish I had that bottom end in my brain again. Well, that means just refining it by bringing it down. And I keep using the word refine because that's what you're doing. You're not just turning it on or off. You're kind of fine tuning as you go. All right. We go over here for a second to talk about something none of us really think about when it comes to our hearing, Jen, and that is it balanced in my head? My right ear is not as strong as my left ear, but now it is, because I can just kind of cheat it a little bit to balance out in my head so that I hear evenly, quote unquote, between my left and my right ear. If this is all that the app did, in my opinion, worth the price of admission versus traditional hearing aids, but it's about to get really, really cool, because we saw in that video a second ago how you have the ability to take advantage of the little tiny microphones in the hearing aids. If Jen and I are in a restaurant and she's sitting across from me, I don't care about the conversation behind me. I don't need to hear the server talk about the specials for the 17th time next to me. I don't need to hear the kitchen. I don't need to hear all that ambient room noise. So I tap on front. And what that does is it takes the microphones in there and it isolates, Jen, what's around us. So, well, not us, unfortunately for you, you're where you are and you don't have the advantage that the person wearing them does, but it suppresses all of that noise to the left, to the right, behind, and whatever direction you face, that's where the microphones focus, so that you have an easier way of, an easier time or experience when it comes to listening to the conversation.
Such a great feature.
It's wild, right? Like if it just did that compared to traditional hearing aids. One last thing, as you start to find these sweet spots, one for walking the dog, one for watching TV, one for ABC, whatever it is, you can save them. And when you save them inside here, what it will do is allow you to simply tap onto one of those presets, just like a car radio preset, to one of your favorites. And it will take the treble and the bass and it'll put it where it's supposed to be. It'll do the same thing with the volume. It'll do the same thing with those directional microphones. And then you don't have to go back, as if that takes a lot of time, and actually fine tune it each time you're in a different experience.
God, that's so great.
Wow.
And to be clear, this is an FDA cleared Class 2 medical device. So this isn't the dumbed down version of a hearing aid so that you can avoid having to visit the doctor's office. This is, because this is a very recent change in America, that you can get an FDA cleared hearing aid over the counter, or via the television in this case. And as a reminder, it's $139 to get it home, to try it out. If you love it, you continue to make those monthly easy payments and you have it forever. It's E325208. Now, folks may not know, but I've been wearing one the entire time.
This is my favorite demonstration. This is cool, and it's good for you to have all this knowledge, but this is going to take away the stigma right here.
It's in this ear.
Where's the hearing aid? You know, okay, you're saying, well, Jen's got long hair, and Jen's hair matches the color. Okay, but you know what? Where is that big, bulky piece that used to jump out and scream, I've got a hearing aid? There it is. Look how tiny that footprint is. And in all fairness, Jen, we live in a society now where you can't go anywhere without seeing something in somebody's ear.
That's true.
Right? They've got AirPods, or they've got Bose, whatever it might be. And I'm talking about the company that helped create this. They'll admit it too. Like, everybody's got those things in their ears for listening to music, for making phone calls, for doing video chats. It's just become part of society. The irony is now the hearing aids are actually smaller and less obtrusive than anything we're wearing.
They're smaller than AirPods.
Yeah, for recreation or for fun. So please don't let that be the reason. The other thing I want to say before I show you how to wear these is that maybe this is something that if you've got a parent that's struggling, and we did this with my stepfather many years ago with traditional hearing aids. It didn't work. Wish we had known that before we spent almost $6,000 for something that sits in a drawer now, because he has the original version of the Lexie and he loves them, and I upgraded him to the B2s. Point in all this is that maybe everybody in the family helps out with an easy pay, because it's, Jen, it's not just the person wearing them. As you saw in that video
it's
at the
the person
beginning
who
with
doesn't
Jeff,
have to shout or repeat themselves.
It's all the kids, it's the grandkids, it's everybody to help bring that person back into the game so that they're engaged.